Everybody, welcome back to the High Performance Zone. Today, I have a fellow Navy Brotherhood football player, Jesse Iwuji, who also is a NASCAR driver. And we dive into how he became from a Navy officer, from driving warships to driving race cars. More importantly, there's an amazing story here about an entrepreneur making a difference and this idea of focused energy. We dive into how do you focus your mind? How do you create focused energy? This is fun. We'll talk about playing football against Ohio State, Notre Dame, and then most importantly, making a difference in people's lives. All right, I'm fired up on this one. Glad to be here. Here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to High Performance Zone. Today, I have Jesse Iwuji. He's a brother, football brotherhood. He's a NASCAR racer, and best of all, another Navy man who's making a difference in the world. Jesse, welcome to the Zone. Glad to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse, now for everyone's intro, tell me a little bit about how you got into NASCAR number one, but more importantly, your story, because, we played football together, not on the same team years before. And I know what it takes to be like on the field. And I want to kind of connect the dots from playing Navy football, we call that the football brotherhood, to your Navy career. And I understand you just got back from some active duty, 2 weeks of reserve duty, right? And then the NASCAR. So, over to you, man. How'd you get started in NASCAR though? That's what I want to know first off.
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting and unique story. You don't normally see naval officers getting into professional, racing circuits, and NASCAR to, at that. So for me, I don't come from a racing family at all. So both of my parents immigrated from Nigeria to the US back in the 80s. They came here with absolutely nothing. So I'm basically first generation Nigerian American here. And when they came out here, they first decided to settle in Dallas, Texas. And while growing up in Dallas, me and my two brothers and my sister, we got accustomed to all the sports that, Texas people play. So for me and my brothers, it was football. Football was the biggest thing in Texas. And I mean, no matter what, you had to play football in Texas. So naturally, I gravitated towards that. I had a passion and liking for cars and racing out of nowhere. I don't know why. I would follow it on TV. I would watch it where I could, when I could. But, as a sport I was going to play, I wasn't going to be jumping in a go-kart or anything or racing because my parents didn't have the funds, the ability to make that happen at that time.
Right.
So growing up through middle school and high school, I was grinding away, playing football, trying to get better and better because I had this goal of going off to college and playing college football. And as I worked really hard to get better and better throughout high school, because when I first started playing football, I really wasn't good at all. I had to work, I had to grind, and I had to push. So throughout high school, got better and better. Those people who were, I guess when I first started, were more talented than me, who felt like they didn't have to give as much effort to become more talented and better. I surpassed them because I worked harder and I grinded. And eventually, by my senior year, I started getting recruited by a few schools. And one of those schools was the Naval Academy. So I just looked at it as a great opportunity to go to a great school, get a great education, play football for a great team. And then when I graduate, be able to serve as an officer in the US Navy. So I took that opportunity, went to the academy, got there 2006.
Hey, real quick, Jesse, let me dive in for a second here. So playing football, you come over from Nigeria and you're in Texas. Football matters in Texas, man. You said that earlier, but I mean, it's the game, right?
Yeah.
Why did you pick football versus any other sport?
Why did I pick football over any other sport? There was a private school my dad used to work for. He did like multimedia stuff. So he kind of worked in the AV department type thing. So I remember he took me to work one time just to kind of show me all the stuff he did and show me the school. And I remember seeing the high school players practicing. And when I saw that, that was like my first time ever seeing any kind of football players up in person, like real life. And something in my mind just clicked. I was like, I want to do that. I don't know why, but something just clicked. I said, I want to do that. And then from then on, I just made it my goal that I wanted to play football. And then when I started learning that, hey, there's this thing in college called college football, I was like, I want to do that too. I want to get there. So that's my goal. I'm going to set my goals and dreams to get to college and play college football. And who knows where it goes from there. If I make it to the NFL, great. If not, whatever. So that's kind of what led me there. And I guess I had never gotten to meet like any basketball players or soccer players or baseball players. My first experience of meeting someone playing an organized sport was meeting football players who were playing football in high school. And when I saw that, I just all of a sudden was like, I just saw it and was like, that's going to be me.
We're so similar in that regard. I remember being a little kid playing football in the they called it ankle biters league. It was 65 pounds, man. That was the heaviest you could be, right? And I just remember the joy of playing football. And one of my goals was get to a D1 school, play football for a D1 school. Now you got recruited by Navy, right? See, I never got recruited, so I was a walk-on. I actually walked on to Colorado, CU, because I got rejected for the Navy medically. They said I wasn't physically qualified, which is a whole different story, right? But the point was, I spent a year at CU, walked on, made that team, and then made the transition over to Annapolis. And, we've got a proud tradition now at Navy, right? You guys were awesome. It's a strong tradition, but you just didn't play football. You played linebacker, right? So here's the question. Were you always a defensive guy, always a linebacker? What made you want to play linebacker with the speed you have?
So when I first started playing football, I played running back and safety, seventh grade. And then in eighth grade, I was running back and safety again. And going into ninth grade, I moved from running back because players got a lot bigger once I got to high school. And I was too small to be running back at that point. So not that I was too small, I was just too skinny. So I moved to receiver, and I played receiver and safety and corner again in ninth grade. And getting close to going into my senior year, my coach came to me and was like, hey, I have this vision that, we need to have all our best athletes on the field at any given time. Like, it doesn't matter. So he wasn't like, hey, I'm going to put a linebacker figure type person in the linebacker position. He's like, no, my 11 best athletes on defense are going to be on the field, no matter if my defensive end ends up weighing only 200 pounds. If he's the best athlete, then he's going to get to the ball somehow, some way. It's just how it works in high school. It's different than college. In college, I could be an amazing athlete, but if I'm 200 pounds at the end, it's going to be very difficult for me to get past, these really, really skilled offensive linemen. Whereas in high school, offensive linemen aren't as skilled. Sometimes people you're playing against just aren't as skilled. So just put the best athletes on the field. They're going to get to the ball and make things happen. So that's why I got placed at outside linebacker, even though I was 75 pounds or so. But I had 6 sacks.
No kidding. You're only 175 pounds. That's in high school. So then you get, now we're catching back up. You get recruited by Navy, and let's talk about what you learned on the football field there.
Yeah, so got recruited by Navy, got there 2006. I actually went to the prep school first. I went to NAPS 2005, 2006 at first before I got to the academy. Had fun there. But when I got to the academy, it was a different experience. I was now in college. I was going to be playing against a lot of bigger players, fast players. It was going to be pretty nerve-wracking.
What was your 40 time?
40 time, I believe I was running somewhere in the high 4.4s, I believe.
Wow.
I ran a 4.48. I might have gone faster my junior year. I can't remember, but I do remember where I was somewhere in the mid 4.4s. So it was pretty quick. It was decent because I was a track athlete too. So I was a two sport guy. But football at the academy was fun. Played against a lot of great teams. Ohio State, Notre Dame twice. Played Notre Dame 4 times, but beat them twice. Ohio State, we nearly beat them on our first time playing them, number 6 team in the country. And,
was that at Baltimore? Was that the game?
No. This was at Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah. So check this out, Jesse. I played against Ohio State. My last game was in the Liberty Bowl. So that was in 81. Right. Yeah. And the same thing, we lost 28-31. Okay. But we had it. Right. And so, and you said, I think we were ahead at halftime. I can't remember, but you said we almost beat Ohio State. And I got to tell you, it still sticks in my craw. It's no more this, we almost won. Nobody remembers the almost ones, but you and I. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like, no, you either win or lose. Right. Yeah. And you probably know this on NASCAR too. But it does stick in my craw because I'm like, we could have done it, man. Yeah. And I'm proud of you guys. Something that I want to just share is that beating Notre Dame twice is huge. Okay. Because, we always play, Navy always plays Notre Dame, and we got our butts kicked 4 years in a row. And for you guys to actually not just do it once, but to do it twice is impressive, man.
Yeah. And the class, right after me, they ended up winning one more time. So The class of 2011 beat them 3 times.
Whoa.
3 times. Yeah. So that was crazy. I mean, the only loss they had was my junior year. So 2008. So 2007 we beat them. We lost to them 2008, beat them again 2009, and then Navy beat them again 2010.
You remember running into those stadiums? I mean, touchdown Jesus. Remember looking up and seeing touchdown Jesus? But talk to me about running into the Ohio State Stadium, because we played Michigan my junior year or maybe senior year. I can't remember. And I remember running into the big house with 100,000 people. But Ohio State Stadium is more vertical, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what it felt like to be playing in front of that crowd.
So they had 107,000 people at that game, and running in there, I remember just how loud it was, a sea of red, so loud. You couldn't hear yourself even think. I mean, when we were doing like we're doing all the play calls and stuff like that on defense, coach would basically only have to go off of signals. He couldn't yell anything out because we couldn't hear. Even just talking to the other DBs on the field, I could never just say, hey, this, that, this is, I couldn't say it because you couldn't hear me. Like, you would have to be standing like 2 feet away from me for you to actually hear what I was saying. It was ridiculously loud.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So you were a DB at Navy?
Yes, I played DB. Yep, I played DB. So I played,
Which one? Were you a quick corner? Who were you? I
played a lot of positions. So I came in as a corner, moved to safety, played a lot of dime back, played a lot of nickel back. I did every DB position you can think of. I rotated around.
But again, same with me. I started as the strong corner for 3 years, and then they would rotate me in nickel back, and then quick corner. Actually ended up safety at the end because our safety blew his knee out, and I was the guy to move in there. But that's cool. We got a lot of comment on that. All right. So big takeaway from football. Okay. What did you learn on the field that you were able to apply in 3 areas? The Navy, in NASCAR, and now in business, because I know you're doing all of that too. What did you take away that you were able to apply?
Yeah. So, one of the biggest things I learned at the Naval Academy, our coaches used to always tell us this was, and actually I wrote a LinkedIn post about this the other day, but these 3 words, they said, nobody cares. And the reason they said that was because no matter how tired we'd be during practices, during drills, no matter how tired you'd be or mentally fatigued from all the classes, because we took 20 credit hours like every semester type thing. We all took calculus, physics, all these classes that these other players at other schools don't have to take. But no matter what we had to go through military wise, no matter what was happening in our personal lives, whatever was happening at home, wherever we came from, whatever our background was, whether it was good or bad, nobody cares. Nobody cares. When you get on that field and we're fighting against, Ohio State, when we're fighting against Notre Dame, they don't care. They're not going to give us any leeway. Be like, oh, you know what? You had, a really long week. You had, exams, you had this and that, you had military, this and that, you had the march, you had to do this and that. Oh, don't worry, we'll take it. No, nobody cares. And when that finally got into our mind, that's when we clicked as a team, because we knew, you know what? It's only us. It's all of us together. That's it. Like, nobody cares about what we had to go through. No one's going to use that as an excuse. No one's going to say, oh, you're Navy, you're smaller, we're going to give you an inch. No, nobody cares. So that was very important. And I've taken that and applied it to everything I've done in life, because at the end of the day, you can't make excuses. You can't be a victim. Nobody cares. Nobody, like they'll act like they care. Maybe they'll try to be supportive, but at the end of the day, nobody cares. You just got to go find a way to get it done. And that's what I've been able to do with all the stuff I'm doing in business. I have a real estate investing business now. I have a trucking company. I'm in esports now, as you can see right here. And also I put on racing events. And then, outside of that, do public speaking and racing in NASCAR and still in the Navy, doing all that. But at the end of the day, I had to take that mentality of nobody cares. No one's going to give me an inch. No one's going to give me a mile. No one's going to give me anything. Nobody cares what I had to go through. They just want to see you get it done. And I was like, okay, cool. Roger that. We'll get it done.
Oh, I like that too. I like get it done. That's awesome. Hey, check out behind me real quick, the helmets. So this is after both our times. Remember when 3 years ago, I think it was? There's the blue ink.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
The helmet. Yeah. My producer said I got to put it on. So hold on. Oh, man. Okay, dude. I wish you had your helmet handy. Do you?
No, I don't have one. That's the one thing I don't. I have like all
Yeah.
4 of my jerseys, all 4 years, but I don't have a helmet. I need to get a helmet.
Well, you know what? You normally don't. You're right. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
get a helmet,
Yeah.
and this came, after I was helping the team out. I was back a few years ago, but
Yeah.
let's dive into football. I mean, we both learned a lot through football. I want to move into NASCAR though, because it still does blow my mind. How does a Navy officer, number one, naval officer, because that's what you are. You're not a football player. That's just one of the things we did. How do you get into NASCAR? How did that whole journey go?
Yeah. So after I graduated from the Academy 2010, obviously I wasn't going to the NFL or anything like that. So I decided, I wanted to be a surface warfare officer. So I was a SWO. I was on the ships. My first 2 ships that I was on first one was a minesweeper. Second one was an amphib. Spent 2 years on each ship, about 4 years total, sea duty. Went on 2 different deployments, and in between the deployments and the
you guys
underways.
Westpac? Where were you
West,
based?
yeah, San Diego base.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So in between the deployments, when I was back home in San Diego, when I would have free time on the weekends, I would take my personal cars to the tracks near me because football was over, so I had to find something else fun to do, and that was going to a track and driving my car as fast as possible. So I had a Dodge Challenger, then I eventually got a Corvette, and the Challenger I would take to a drag strip mostly, and then the Corvette I would take to road course tracks in Southern California. And after a few years of doing that, finally one day I was sitting in my room and I just made this crazy decision. I was like, you know what? I like cars. I like racing. Why not try to become a pro driver?
Wow.
Why not? Like I one day I had decided that I wanted to become a college football player. Why not try to become a professional race car driver? And I had been gaining experience doing these track days, and finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to go after this goal and go after this dream. And from there, that's where the crazy grind began. 2014 was when that thought came to mind.
Nice. I like to talk about belief levels, right? We don't operate at our full potential. We operate at a belief level, and you've just done it twice now. You did it in football, and now you did it in racing. So what was your path of, okay, you got the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Let's do it. Then how do you actualize that?
Yeah. So at that point, started off with the vision, right? And after the vision, I figured, okay, now I have to put focus energy towards this.
Yes.
So immediately started doing research. That's the first thing I could think of. I was like, I got to learn how to even get through this. I tried to figure out, is there a ladder system? Is there some type of path that you take to become a driver? Just like, at the Naval Academy, if you want to become a pilot, you got to take a certain path. You got to do this, you got to do that. Well, there isn't any laid out path for racing. It's just go figure it out. So quickly, I was met with a little bit of negativity online when I was researching through these forums. I typed in how to become a professional race car driver. All I would see was, you can't do it because you didn't come from a racing family. You can't do it because you didn't come from a wealthy family. You can't do it because you didn't start racing when you were 5 years old in go-karts. You can't do it because you're black. Black people don't race, blah, 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 all this stupid stuff. So I was like, you know what? I already had the vision, clearly seeing myself accomplishing the end goal, which means the end goal is already done. So now all I have to do is continue to grind and figure out how to get there. So I stopped doing my research online and started reaching out to people who are doing it. I was like, I'm not going to let these people on these forums and stuff who have never done it tell me where I'm going. They're not. I already saying it. I know where to go. All right, I know where I'm going to be. So I started reaching out to race car drivers who are currently racing, and I reached out to a bunch of different ones from a bunch of different series, asked them what was their path, what they did. I took different nuggets from everybody.
Who was it? Who did you reach out to? Who actually answered you?
So one in particular that actually answered me, Billy Johnson. He races. He's raced a little bit of NASCAR. He's running a bit of everything. He's run open wheel, sports car, not NASCAR site. Like, he's done everything. A really good driver. And he's one of the guys I reached out to. I can't remember how I ran across his name. I think I was just looking at some particular series, and I looked through a roster of names who were driving for a particular race, and I saw his name, and I clicked on it and found how to. I think I found him on Facebook. That's what I did. I basically found all these names, put them all together, went on Facebook and researched every one of them, sent all of them messages. I might have sent like 50, 60 drivers and messages, maybe like 3 or 4 actually answered, but like he gave me the best information. And to this day, me and him still talk. And I tell him like, dude, thank you so much for answering, because you answered, you helped me get to where I'm at now. And he gave me a lot of good information on like, hey, this is how I did it. There's no real path. Just you got to figure out a way. You got to make sure that you at least get these resources, funding and seat time and network. Like do all those 3, and you will get to where you want to go. So I figured, okay, let me focus on all that. I had to learn marketing. I had to find out how to fundraise. I had to figure out how to get in a race car just to get seat time so I can learn. I got a simulator at home now that I train on, just like, for the aviation guys, I'll train on flight sims to get better at flying in real life. Ship guys like me, we train on ship simulators to get better at driving real ships. So I figured, let me get a racing simulator so I can train on there so I can get better at driving in real life.
Hey, do you know my teammate Jackie Heinricher? She was owned a race team, and she's got one of those simulators. Because
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in her house, and you're right. I actually got dizzy. I mean, I started to feel queasy, and I'm like, this is embarrassing. I'm a Navy F-18 pilot, and I'm feeling queasy driving, but it was an open road track. It was cool.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Did you have the VR on also?
No,
or?
It was just the screens,
The screen. So imagine having the VR on. Some people get really dizzy on that. I don't get motion sickness at all, so it doesn't bother me. But some people put the VR on and it just messes with their stomach and they can't do it longer than like 20 minutes. But for me, I've been on my sim for 2 straight hours. It's just training. Oh yeah.
So you do the sim and then keep going, man, because this is cool. I would have loved to race cars. I think everyone does. It's such a cool thing. So how'd you make it happen?
Yeah. So figured out, okay, let me find a way to find the funding. So that was number one thing. Let me find funding, because it costs money. No matter, I can become the best driver in the world, but if you don't have the funding to even get in a race car, it's just not going to happen. So I immediately started researching how to market, started learning social media tactics, how to build my brand, all that stuff. And then I started learning how to present myself, present my story, present what I was doing to businesses so that I could eventually get sponsorship. And it took a long time. It didn't happen immediately. I didn't just go pitch the first company and all of a sudden, boom, I had sponsorship. I had to pitch like 1,000 of them before I finally got the first yes. And when I say 1,000, I'm like not joking. I literally probably sent out over 1,000 emails to people.
Wow.
Quickly realized that just sending cold emails doesn't work very well. So I had to figure out another way. So I started thinking, I was like, okay, you can relate it to relationships, right? If you meet someone that you like your first thing with them, if you just send them an email saying, hey, I like you and I want to date you, that's not going to get you anywhere far. But maybe if you meet them and then you
I think we've both been shut down a lot trying that. I have.
Yeah, it just doesn't work well. But if you meet them, if you maybe go on dates with them, you show them to a good time, you show them what you're about, and then you show them what you can do for them, all of a sudden now you start establishing something called a relationship. It's the same thing with businesses. You take that same you take that same path with them, and all of a sudden you start forming a good relationship with a business, and then maybe they want to pour into you and date you. So that's how I eventually learned how to get sponsorships and things like that. On the seat time side, I had to get the simulator, and I trained at home for hours and hours a day. On the networking side, I would go to the tracks and meet different teams who were racing lower level series, because I knew I had to work my way up to NASCAR. And I would meet these teams. I figured out how much it would cost to race with them. I found a way to get the money. I did crowdfunding campaigns. I started my business. I did a lot of different things just to get the money before I even found sponsorship, because like I said, I was getting a lot of no's at first on the sponsorship side. I put that all together and did my first race in 2015, which was a late model stock car race. Late models are like the lowest level in NASCAR. I ran it at Irwindale Speedway in Southern California. Ran there, ran 2015, most of that year, ran probably like 10 or so races there. And then eventually moved up to the next level of NASCAR, which is a NASCAR K&N Pro Series, which is like a regional series that races all around the West Coast. They have a West Coast region, one, and East Coast. And I ran West, did that for 2 years. And I basically used money from my business to sponsor myself, because I still was finding it very difficult to find sponsorship. And then going into 2017, I finally met my agent. He helped me find like legit sponsorship, and that helped me launch into the next level of NASCAR, then the next and next. And now I'm racing at the national series, in the NASCAR Truck Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And it's been just a crazy blessing and crazy journey to get to this level, and we have one step to go, which is the NASCAR Cup Series.
Oh, yeah.
Working hard to get there, but it's a grind. We'll make it happen. But a lot of great things have been coming, and it's all been just because we've been putting focused energy towards it, grinding every day, trying to figure out new ways to be creative and innovative, and just never letting other people's opinion of us become our reality.
I love you use the word focused energy. I actually, also speak out there, do a few things. And I love the idea of it's not belief levels, it's the focus energy is the second, or I call it the brief. You got to be prepared, right? Prepare your mind. Then you execute and then you debrief. But real quick, how do you go about preparing your mind? How have you found that preparation, whether it's on the football field or in a racetrack or in business? How do you prepare your mind?
Yeah. So as far as mental preparation, mindset is everything. Anytime you want to accomplish any goals or dreams, anytime you want to achieve success, there's no like 10-step process where it's like, hey, do these steps on this list and you're going to achieve success. No, it's mindset. It starts with mindset and it ends with mindset. So for me, I work on getting my mindset in a place where I am willing to give my all. I'm willing to lose it all. And I'm willing to do that 10 times over to get to the goal. Because when you get there, you are now unstoppable. You're against the wall, and nothing's going to stop you. You have to get into that unstoppable mindset type form. That's what's going to get you to their goals and dream. It's nothing else. It's not. I see all these folks online. They sell all these different courses. They do this and that. But they don't ever talk about what really it takes, which is mindset. You got to get the mindset right. So that's what I do. And when I do that, that helps me get through the business stuff, because you're going to jump into whatever you're jumping into, whether it's business, school, whatever it is, and you're going to get punched in the face either quickly or somewhere down the line, and you're going to hit the ground. And when you hit the ground, like people who don't have the right mindset never figure out a way to get back up. If your mindset's right, you're able to get back up and you're able to fight back, and you're going to keep fighting back. And you might get knocked out again and again and again, but you're going to keep getting back up. You're going to keep grinding. You're going to keep making things happen because you already know where the end is. And because you know where the end is, no one can stop you. When you know that it's there, it's like, it's this beautiful place. It's like, there's nothing you can do to keep me from getting there, because I already know it's done. Like I already saw the future. So that's where I get my mind into so that I can accomplish what I want to accomplish.
Man, I love it. I got a buddy named Mark Devine, Navy SEAL. He talks about winning in your mind first, which is, we all talk about that. It's exactly what you're doing. And then this ability to get up, right? But the fearlessness. I love what you said about unstoppable. So I've been doing a lot of research on angels, and there's this angel that's unshakable, unstoppable, fearless. And I think about that every single day. Hey, let's as we wrap up the podcast here, let's dive into your business though, man. Tell me about esports. Tell me what you got going on here.
Yeah. So one of the businesses, E-Racing Association, which you can see on the shirt right here. And I jumped into the esports world last year, wanting to put on big events where we give out big cash prizes. And we started that at the end of last year. We've already put on 3 events. We got another one actually, we got 2 more coming up here in the next 45 days or so. So it's been growing and growing. We've been, putting together different partnerships and doing a lot of cool stuff with it. But basically, people can race on their racing simulator from home, just like the simulator I have here in the other room. Everyone has their own version of it. Some people's are as simple as a steering wheel on a desk and their desk chair and the pedals and maybe a shifter, and they use that. Some people have elaborate cockpits and everything. Everyone has a different level, but you can get on yours at home. You can drive against other people around the world. You can compete for cash prizes, and if you win the race, you can go home with $4 or more $1,000, and that's from home. You're not even going home with that money. You are already home, and you're going to win that money. So we've been putting on these events. It's been going well. We're growing it. Also, outside of the esports world, I have a real estate investing business where we've been working on, just acquiring different properties, whether they're rental properties or we're doing new construction, whatnot. Been working on that. It's still small, but growing it right now. And we'll also have a trucking company. We haul goods all around the country, mainly West Coast. We've done a little bit of stuff on the East Coast also, and that's big rig semi trucks. So any of those like Amazon big blue trailers that you see, the 53-foot ones being hauled, we do that pretty much. And then outside of that, I put on events on the real life real life events. So I put on drag racing events. I've been doing that since 2015. We actually have an event coming up here pretty soon. To end this year, we'll end with about 3 events. But live events, people come to them. They bring their personal street cars to the track and they drag race there, and they don't have to worry about like racing on the street and getting in trouble or going to jail or
Yeah.
potentially hitting someone and killing someone. They can come to a track on a drag strip where it's legal, it's safe, and it's a controlled environment, and they can go as fast as they want and see what they can run in the quarter mile. And we've been putting on these events for a few years, and they've been going really well.
Wow. You got a lot of irons in the fire. Are you doing this with partners or what?
So on the drag racing event side, I do that myself. I mean, I have people who obviously work the events and stuff, but as far as like organizing the whole thing, promoting, do all of that, I do that myself. On the trucking side, me and my brothers, we're partners in that. So we basically run the trucking business. I do most of the stuff. They just invested in it. On the esports side, I have different partners for that. We have 3 other partners on the esports side for E-Racing Association. And then on the real estate investing, that's also with me and my 2 brothers.
Wow. Man, you're doing amazing. So give me the thread as we wrap up. What is the, I guess, the takeaway for other business people? What is your secret sauce? How are you successful?
For people who are business owners or even trying to get into the business world, so there's a lot of things you got to remember, a lot of things you got to, I guess, do to really make things start rolling in the right way. But, like I said before, a lot of it's mindset. So I always tell people what you think about, you bring about. So you got to get your mind in the right place where you have positive thoughts, you're thinking about the right things, and every day you're putting this daily grind to make it happen. It's not just let me do a couple little things on a weekend or a couple little things here and there. Every single day, you got to be putting some type of focus energy towards a goal. I'm not saying quit your day job and just only go fully focused on it. You can, and that could help, but it's going to be very painful. But there's other ways to do it. And then, also too, there's going to be people around you. Sometimes it's like your family, your friends, or people you just don't like, whoever. There's gonna be people who are gonna come and try to crap on your dream. They're gonna tell you that you can't do it for whatever reason. Sometimes they're telling you it because they want to protect you or whatever. They don't want to see you fail. But you have to understand that other people's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. That's something I learned from Les Brown. Great
Oh,
quote.
nice.
Yeah, great quote. And it's just, once I learned that back in 2015, that helped me become, once again, more unstoppable, because I started to understand. I'm like, okay, that's right. Like, just because someone like doesn't see it doesn't mean I can't see it for myself. And then that's when I also realized that God all gave us visions, right? He gave me a vision, he gave you a vision. Just because I can't see your vision because he didn't give it to me, he gave it to you, how am I going to comment on it? How can I tell you where you're supposed to go? I wasn't given your vision and you weren't given mine. So because I was only given it, only I can see it for myself. Nobody else can. They can pretend to see it, they can act like they see it, but they've never seen it. God spoke to me and he didn't speak to you about what he spoke to me about. I don't know what he told you either. So we're on all different paths. We're going to different places. We're all going to great places if we want to go to those great places. And guess what? Like, we were all told where we're supposed to be. So why quit on it?
Nice. I love that. I love your passion. We're going to wrap with a glad to be here. Then I want to know how people can get a hold of you. This shirt I'm wearing, this statement, this brand about being gratitude, being grateful. Glad to be here. To me, at least, it was something that we said on the Blue Angels, but it took on a whole different light, And what does glad to be here mean to you?
Glad to be here is just like you just mentioned right there. It's this gratitude of, understanding that like it's a blessing to have what we have. It's a blessing to be here, especially in this country, in the United States of America. It's a blessing. Like, not everyone has this opportunity. A lot of people are fighting to get here. As I mentioned earlier, I'm from Nigeria originally. I wasn't born in Nigeria. I was born in the US, but my parents were born there. And yes, they got over here. Yes, they figured it out, but it is not as easy anymore. And there are people who are like fighting every day to try to get over here because they know we're living in the land of opportunity here in the US. We can make a lot of things happen. I mean, I'm a guy who was driving warships, now driving race cars. Like, we can make a lot of things happen. So be happy that you're here. Don't take it for granted, because there's many, many people who wish they could be in your position. No, don't think that you're going through anything that's just way too difficult, because I can always go find someone else who's living on the street, a kid, a child who's 2 years old, who's drinking water off the ground, off a street in some other country. There's people like that. So be happy. that you're here, because there's people in way worse conditions than you are.
Love it. I just got back from Africa. I brought over 12 corneas to Tanzania. We did some, buddy of mine, doctor of mine did some cornea transplants. So I know what you mean. I mean, we are so blessed. And every day I remind myself how we are. Hey, Jesse, this has been awesome. I could talk to you forever. Keep up the good work. We're going to stay in touch with your NASCAR and other things. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can get a hold of me by going to any social media platform. They can look up my name anywhere. Just look up Jesse Iwuji. That's JESSEIWUJI. Look me up on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those social media platforms. I'm on them. I answer my messages. So if someone wants to reach out, send me a message. I answer everything. I get back to everything usually within a day or so. So reach out or go to my website, jesseiwuji.com. And if you can't remember how to spell it, just type in on Google, Navy NASCAR driver. I should be the only one that pops up for a couple pages.
Navy NASCAR driver. I like what you said, whether you're driving a Warrior on ships or race cars, you're making a difference, brother. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Keep it up. Glad to be here. Gucci out.
Thank you.